Hey everybody, welcome back to Found Footage Fridays, and we are talking more about the House LLC franchise with the second movie, House LLC 2, The Abaddon Hotel from 2018, which was a Shudder exclusive, and as well as the third film, Lake of Fire, was also a Shudder exclusive. Returning to direct and write is Steve Cognetti, and starring, again, no one. No one we'll ever see again or have seen before. And I've said that in the last review, and I will basically probably be saying that in almost every found footage film that I review on this channel, because that's usually the case. Just unknown people that we'll never see again. And so we open up with some text saying the following footage was captured by Russell Wynn, part of Wynn Media Group, and that basically plays more into the third film, so we'll get into that in the third movie. But just what I want to see in a movie when it opens up, reading. That's why I watch movies. And we get a nice little quick shot of room 2C in the abandoned Abaddon Hotel, which is abandoned again since the incident with the Hell House crew. And we end up going to an interview with the mother of this kid named Jackson, who ended up last being seen breaking into the hotel and never coming out. And the mother ended up getting texts coming from Jackson's phone, which the authorities later traced, that were coming from inside of this hotel. And they're pretty creepy text messages. You know, it sets the mood for this. It's come to the Abaddon Hotel. They're in the dining room. They have no eyes. So that's interesting right off the bat. They have no eyes. I wonder why. Well, maybe they're like Sid Haig's character from Hatchet 3. Like his eyes in the front of his face. Never got that line. That's so silly. And we get a nice shot of when Jackson's trapped in the hotel. We see a video of him that he made while he was trapped in there, saying, pretty much breaking down, just saying, I should have never came here, and like, if my family ever sees this, I'm sorry, and everything like that. And we get a cool shot of the satanic cult ghost thing. Like I said in the last review, I don't know what to call them. I'm just going to call them cult ghosts. That works, right? Cult ghosts. You can call them whatever you want. It doesn't really matter to me. So we get that nice little shot of the cult ghost like creeping up behind Jackson as his back's turned and he's filming this video. Nice little shot. Again, there's some creepy stuff in this movie. There's a lot of cool little scenes. There's a little bit more jump scares in this movie, but it's par for the course. Like I said, this is much more of a standard found footage movie than the first movie is. And we hear the piano melody, which I mentioned a few times in the first movie and occurs in it several times. The little motif that it plays. So it's like ding, 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 ding. I got a piano on my keyboard right over there. I should have played it on that. But we hear that little motif again, and we hear Jackson scream in the video, and the video ends. And when the mother says that she saw this video, it was emailed to her, and she finally opened it and saw her son's video, and she said she instantly recognized that piano melody. And so we get a nice little home movie shot of Jackson when he was a child with his family, and he was supposed to be sleeping, and he's found downstairs in the kitchen playing this motif on the piano. And the mother comes up to him and says, like, what are you doing? And he says that the hotel opens in 2009. Tell everybody. So there's things that are leading. It's like a domino effect, as we find out in this movie, that things just happen in a certain way that leads to events that'll occur later down the road, which is a cool little theme and stuff. So we have the Morning Mysteries talk show talking about the Hell House documentary, which is basically the first film. And we have Arnold Tasselman, who works for the town of Abaddon. And we have Mitchell Cavanaugh, which was the one of the camera guys, the one who stayed behind in the first movie. And we have Brock Davies, who is a paranormal investigator who comes off so full of himself and just so, I don't know, it's hard to describe Brock's character. Just very full of himself and thinks he's the best paranormal investigator in the world, and that he needs to get into this hotel to feel the energies and stuff like that. One of those guys, you know who I'm talking about. And they end up talking about a lawsuit that is in progress against Mitchell for this documentary for like defamation of the town and the hotel and slander and making all these stories up about what happened that night. And let's see here. And as always, like in the last movie, the authorities just keep on referring to it that night as a misfortunate, malfunction of some sort, which, as we saw in the end of the last movie, is definitely not the case. And then we meet investigative journalist Jessica Fox, which I don't care for her character in this movie. I mean, she does all right. It's just something about her. I don't know. It's something about her. I just never cared for her character the times that I've seen this movie. And her best friend Molly, who's the opposite, I absolutely adore her. She is such a cute woman. She just has this personality to her. Like, she's always a little frightened and like on edge, but adorable. Such an adorable character. I love Molly in this. And her boyfriend David, who's the cameraman, who basically just never stops filming, like in every found footage movie. And they actually did a pretty good thing with their investigative journal company. They actually put a corrupt senator, a state senator, in jail for like taking bribes and stuff like that. So it kind of put their little show on the map. So the next thing they want to do, Jessica is obsessed with the whole Hell House incident and everything and the history of the hotel, and she ends up getting a anonymous package from one of the cult members, apparently, of Andrew Tully's satanic cult from back in the day in the hotel. And it has says that there's supposed evidence of the satanic cult stuff going on in the hotel, and like evidence of like the missing hotel ghosts, missing hotel guests, missing hotel ghosts. Imagine like on a milk carton is like, have you seen this ghost? If anything, please call this number and return it back to the hotel that it haunts so I can get back to work. So she's tipped off from that anonymous letter that she gets, and she ends up calling into the show and tells her Mitchell that is, still missing Diane and doesn't know what happened to Diane, and basically, wants to know where she is and what happened to her. And she calls in Jessica and says, I have proof of what happened in there, and I have evidence about the satanic rituals and cult that was going on there, and leaves off just saying, Mitch, if you want to know what happened to Diane, just find me. So he ends up getting in contact with her, and they need his help to get into the hotel. And since he knows it better than anybody else from going through hours and hours of footage from the first movie that Sarah gave them, well, dead Sarah, and so he basically knows the place in and out. So they need him to help them navigate and get into the basement fridges, which is where this all this supposed evidence has been kept, as said by this anonymous tipster that sent this information to Jessica. And Mitchell agrees, but like reluctantly, because obviously he saw the tape of Sarah being killed in the last movie right on camera, right after they interviewed her. So he knows that this woman was dead then. And he still goes in there. There's so many movies that's like this, and wouldn't be a movie if it didn't happen. But even just talking about the Hatchet franchise and stuff, and not Danielle Harris, but she plays the character in two of the movies. But Mary Beth, the character of her in the first three films, just one night in the swamp and seeing everyone get brutally torn apart, and she goes back the next night. and the next night. It's like, these people don't learn, man. Like, come on. You're going to go back into this place? Seriously? I get he wants to find out dearly what happened to Diane, but like, let them go in and get that evidence, figure that shit out, and then let them shoot you an email or something. Hey, we found out what happened to Diane. Oh, you did? What happened? She's dead. And, oh, all right, that's what I figured for the last few years. All right, thank you. That's what I would do. So we get the footage of the guys picking up a female hitchhiker who, they're coming back from like a fashion show, and it's like this random video clip, which we get a few of before we get into the actual hotel with these characters. And these two guys coming back from a fashion show, they find a hitchhiker girl on the road. She gets into the car and immediately is just creepy as hell. And they ask her where she's going. She says the Abaddon Hotel, and they say this has been closed for years. And she said, I already checked in. So they end up driving her there and seeing how abandoned it is and boarded up and stuff. And they're like, this doesn't feel right. And she just hops out of the car and runs into the hotel, and they follow her in and down to that creepy ass basement, man, which I said in the first movie, I fucking love the set of the hotel in these films. Like, it might be one of my favorites, like, sets or settings in a found footage movie. Like, by far. Just, it's such a creepy looking hotel, and it's they even mention in the movie somewhere that supposedly the owner and builder Andrew Tully like built it like H.H. Holmes' murder house and stuff like that make it hard to navigate and hard to get out and everything. And it shows, like, it really looks like that, like going through this hotel. It's like a maze. It's like very hard to find your way around, especially at night in the dark. It's just such an awesome setting for these films. And where was I here? Actually, let me get some water real quick. Excuse me. Delicious. That's my water. So, I love Mitchell's character in this movie. He's probably the only character besides Molly who's adorable that I really care about in this movie. He's just a genuine, down-to-earth guy. And just like calm, cool, collected. He's smart. He has things that he'll come out with while they're in the hotel that I'm saying, yes, exactly. Like, fucking do what this guy is saying. And, back to that scene real quick with the hitchhiker. So then they go down to the basement, that creepy ass basement, and they just see her standing there with just like a demonic looking face. And they end up just freaking out and running back up the stairs, and the camera like distorts and shuts off. And we find out that she was one of the people who went to the opening night of Hell House, and she hitchhiked there. So we get this weird ghost thing. That never made sense to me. If this is the hotel is what's haunted, then like how is this random ghost just chilling on a road like like miles away from the hotel? That's stupid. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And but yeah, Mitchell's character, awesome. Love him in this, and he does a great job acting. I mean, like I said, the rest of them, meh. Like, Molly's adorable, but doesn't make her a great actress, and Jessica does a decent job, even though I don't really care for her character. And that other guy, whatever his name is, David, the boyfriend of Molly, the cameraman. Yeah, they do all a decent job, but Mitchell, by far, the actor who plays him, is the best performance in this movie, without a doubt. And we end up having Brock Davies, the paranormal investigator, brilliant fucking person that he is, ends up coming with them with his cameraman named Malcolm, and they end up going into the Abaddon, which is patrolled by authorities now almost 24/7, which leads to, more questions from everybody who's seen this documentary and start wondering what's the town hiding and why is it always patrolled and how come all these people have been going missing. And they end up telling Molly that that they need somebody to stay outside to keep watch for, like, if a patrol car comes. And she was scared as shit. She says just going to regular haunted houses, yet alone like an actual, like, supposed haunted hotel. So she has no problem staying out there. And the rest of them, the three of them, and Brock and his cameraman end up going inside. And we get some, like, 2 other videos too, like some YouTube video that somebody who broke into the hotel filmed, where he like walks through the hotel, and then the stairs that lead upstairs, you just see legs in the bottom half of like a figure on the stairs. And they say on the Morning Mysteries TV talk show that the weird thing about the footage is that it never stopped recording. It just stayed fixed on that figure on the stairs until the battery died. That's a cool little effect. That's a cool little touch. So yeah, they go into the hotel, and then we cut to Jessica, a scene that happens later on. But we cut to a scene where Jessica, that has a little bit of blood on her, and she's absolutely traumatized, and she's at a sheriff's station being interrogated by a sheriff, and says that she's been missing for 5 days, and asking her where she's been and everything. And cut back to the present, and We got a great scene here. I really like this. It's very unsettling in a way, where Brock and Malcolm, as soon as everyone gets in the hotel, Brock and Malcolm go into the dining room, which is where Andrew Tully and his cult members hung themselves and killed themselves, as the others go down to the basement to try looking through the supposed evidence and everything that's in the fridge in the basement. And as soon as they enter this dining room, and Brock even says, this is it. This is the room where Andrew Tully and his followers killed themselves. And then the camera pans back this way, and there's two nooses hanging from the ceiling, which is a cool shot. It looks really cool. And they start wondering, like, was that there when we first came in? And we saw when they first came in, they were absolutely not there. So that's a little creepy. And get another cool scene in the basement where they see the clown mannequins. And this is what I'm saying about how, like, he's a smart guy, Mitchell. They go down to the basement to start looking through the fridge for the evidence, and they see the three iconic clown mannequins propped up against the wall like they were in the first movie. And as soon as you see Jessica look at it and start getting a little scared, and Mitch is just like, just don't look at them. He's like, it's just going to freak you out. Just don't look at them. Good job. Good thinking in that moment. A nice little line by Mitch. And they start searching for the evidence in the fridge. We get another pretty good scene. There's a lot of good scenes in this movie. Like I said, a lot of people don't care for the sequels to this movie. Like I said, third one's terrible, but I really enjoy this one, actually. It's a very good found footage movie. It's a very good sequel to the first one, and really expands on the whole history of the hotel and the mythos surrounding this place and everything, which I always love in movies. Whenever they're doing sequels, if they can expand on the background of a character or a location or something like that, and it just feels like it's being fleshed out more as it goes on, which I always enjoy seeing that in movies, as long as it's done well, And all right, so we get this great scene with Brock trying to communicate to the spirits in the room, in the dining room, and he asks if it's Andrew Tully, and he asks if you're one of the Hell House members or one of the people who've gone missing here, and then he's using a planchette from the Ouija board type thing, and it moves on its own real quick, and Malcolm, the cameraman, is like, let's get out of here. And they end up the camera pans up, and there's just this ghost woman just sitting in the corner in a desk or something across them then, and they both just get up and they're like, listen, we don't want to do, we're just going to leave. And they walk out the door, turn around, and the ghost girl is right up in their face. And again, like the first movie, the ghosts look okay in this movie. It's CGI. Maybe a little bit of practical, it's hard to tell, but they look alright. They look decent. Nothing amazing or anything, but decent enough. And we have the shot of them searching through the evidence down in the basement, Mitch and Jessica and David, and we see the clown mannequin just walk past the door behind them. Cool shot. I really like that a lot. Molly ends up coming into the hotel, even though she's supposed to be outside keeping watch, and ends up saying that she got a call from David, her boyfriend, on the walkie-talkie telling her to come inside the hotel. And when they hear this, and Mitch hears this on the other end of the walkie downstairs, he knows, this is the time that we gotta get out of here. He knows something's going on now, and said this was a huge mistake and it's time to leave. So David goes upstairs and talks to Molly, and she starts saying, you told me to come here, and he's saying, I never said that, and she starts freaking out, why would you fuck with me right now and stuff. I love Molly. She's so adorable in this movie. She's always so scared. It's like you want to just give her a hug. You're just like, calm down, girl, just it's gonna be all right. But that would be a lie, because it's not going to be okay. And so she comes into the hotel, and I love how they expand, again, on how this hotel draws people there to collect, guests, as it's referred to later in the film. How they're trying to just always get people to this hotel to expand their, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Trying to get more guests. You know what I'm talking about. So they end up freaking out and they have to leave, and they end up saying it's time to go right now, take whatever evidence you found and stuff. They found some tapes and stuff like that, and they end up trying to go upstairs, and they get to another cool shot of them finding Brooke and Malcolm hanging from those nooses in the dining room, and now they are terrified, as anyone would be. And they start trying to find the exit, which they came in through because Mitchell propped the door open, and they end up seeing the clown mannequin right by the door. Another cool shot, he's like, it's just a prop, and they go to move up towards it, and he turns his head towards them, his arm folds like down a little bit, and they fucking book it out of there, man. Which, that's some creepy shit. Like, very cool stuff. There's, like I said, very eerie, unsettling scenes in this movie, just like the last one. They have another great scene too when they're trying to get to the balcony because they can't get out the after they see the mannequin and the clown and stuff. That door slams shut. They can't get out the front door because it has no doorknob apparently. It's like, and then David tries breaking it down by just running into it and just like fucking just falls over. That's funny. He tries breaking it down and just like fucking hurts himself. So they go upstairs and try to find a balcony because, like I said, Mitchell knows this hotel in and out from going through probably dozens and dozens of hours of footage from the Hell House documentary. And we find this awesome scene where they're trying to get there to the balcony, and then there's all the prop dummies and everything all over the place. And while they're going down the hallway, it looks like another prop dummy, but it blinks, and it's the ghost girl again. And they fucking freak out. They turn around, they run down the hallway, and then we have a cool shot when he turns back and she's walking slowly down the hallway. Very cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. And they end up barricading themselves in Paul's room from the first movie, which is where we first saw that ghost girl in the corner, and which I said was my favorite scene in that movie. And so she has some time. We never find out exactly who this ghost girl is. We can only just assume that she was, a guest at the hotel years ago or something like that, or one of the people who died on opening night for the Hell House attraction. But they never specify who this ghost is actually at all, unless they do in the third movie, but I don't remember, and I haven't seen that movie in a long time since it came out. Well, not too long. It only came out this was 2018, so maybe at the most 3 years ago or something like that. But I think I only saw it the one time when it came out on Shudder, and that was basically it because it sucks, like I keep saying. And they barricade themselves in Paul's room, and then it's David is going through the tapes that he took out of the basement. He finds a special tape that he starts watching, and Mitchell and Jessica cower around it to watch, and we get the video of Alex, the dick from the first film, the CEO of Hell House, meeting with some unseen person, and then revealing that Alex, like in the first film that we found out from, it was set off camera, so maybe when I said that in the review I was taking it from this movie, but it's implied in the first movie, but it's definitely confirmed here that Alex sunk the company money and not his own money into Hell House and basically left them almost broke. And they were fucked, they had no way of carrying on, and this unseen person ends up telling him and offers him the hotel to have their attraction at, and says, it's a creepy place, I've had it in my possession for a long time, and maybe have a haunted attraction of some kind. And so they strike up a deal, and Alex agrees to try and save the company. So then we're back in the room, in Paul's room, and the lights go out, and Molly disappears, just evaporates out the room, and the door is slightly cracked open, which wasn't there before, and there's a note on the door saying that Molly's in the basement with her friends. And David immediately, it's their girlfriend, and he ends up freaking out, and Mitch is trying to restrain him, saying, listen, you can't just run out there quick, let's think of a plan, we'll go down there and get her, don't worry. And we get a cool shot too of them going into the basement and finding Molly, and she's laying across the three clown mannequins, passed out or in a trance or something like that. So they end up saving her, getting her, and they end up trying to leave. And we have this awesome little shot of the wall in the basement just exploding, and it seems like a gateway to hell. And Mitchell finds Melissa while he's running upstairs because he got separated from the two girls, and we see Melissa, the actress, the gorgeous actress for the attraction from the first movie, who was in the basement handcuffed and everything like that. And he finds her talking on the phone and saying that she's talking to her mom, and she even creepily looks over at Mitchell and like says 1 second, like puts her hand up 1 second, and says like, yeah, no, we're at the hotel, but I'm dead and I'm in hell, and that's where Mitchell's gonna go, like in a demonic voice. And Mitchell gets knocked out or passed out or something like that. And I always said, why not just kill him right then and there, like they do with like the other people and stuff? Like, why not just, you know, make him a guest there? But then I remembered that they do address that right after that. So we get this awesome scene, my favorite scene in the movie. This is right near the end here. And Mitchell finds Molly and Jessica and the dead Hell House members all in the dining room. And the morning mystery interview we cut back to, and the assistant comes up to the host of the show and says that the guy, the townsperson who was on the show, Arnold Tasselman, just called and said that sorry you couldn't make it, he had a car accident or car trouble and he was just dealing with insurance and stuff. And she's saying, you mean the guy who was just here, that I just interviewed, that was just left 30 seconds ago? Creepy. Then we find out that he is the ghost of Andrew Tully, the owner of the hotel. And he reveals to Mitchell that he needs more guests for the hotel, which again, I love that idea of just collecting souls to be, you know, slaves at your hotel and stuff for their satanic cult that even after, and he mentions, even after they killed themselves, the hotel was never vacant. They were always still there. They just began when they ended up crossing over into death. And I love Tully's voice in this scene. Like, he was just an unnerving voice, and then it also like distorts into like this demonic voice. Like, he tells Mitchell to pick the camera up. He's like, pick up the camera. And he's obviously scared shitless. He's like, I said, pick up the camera. It's a decent actual impression of it. Awesome. So yeah, I love his voice. I love the actor who plays him. He actually is the only other actor besides Mitchell who does a great job in just this one scene that he's in, you know, besides the morning, you know, talk show interviews and stuff, which at that time we have no idea who he is, just some town guy. But once we know he's the ghost of Andrew Tully, love his performance in the scene at the end. And he said that the hotels never closed, and Tully and his cult indeed found a gateway to hell and were able to open it. And we also find out what happened to Diane, which sucks. She became another guest at the hotel, and Mitchell moves the camera over, and we hear that piano motif again. And we see Diane with, like, her face is all demonic and like messed up, bloodied and stuff, and she's playing the piano motif and stuff, looking at Mitchell, and he starts breaking down, crying and stuff. He's finally found out what happened to her. And I love this line that Tully delivers, like in the demonic voice, and he says, we're servants of the snake, and we kill, and then we need someone we'll cast into the lake of fire. Awesome line. Really cool. Like, this whole scene is very good. A very good ending scene. I mean, there's one more scene after this, but it's short. So this is basically the climax of the film. And it basically tells Molly is killed, like, flat out. Like, Tully says that Mitchell has to choose who gets to leave there and continue the story of letting people come to the hotel so they keep getting more guests. And Molly is taken out of the equation immediately just to motivate him to make a decision. So she's sadly killed. Poor Molly. My adorable Molly. I wish I would have given her a hug earlier. Wouldn't have changed much, but sad scene. And he basically, he says that he's been sending tapes to somebody who will start this whole domino effect again and bring more guests to the hotel. And that's referring to the very beginning of the movie with the text that's so thrilling to read about Russell Wynn of the Wynn Media Group and stuff, which all plays into the plot of the third movie. And he tells Mitchell that he has to choose who can leave, so he can tell the person who leaves can, you know, point people in the direction of the hotel to keep on getting more guests. And we have a great shot, probably my favorite shot in this movie, where right after you hear Jessica scream as Mitchell walks towards him, so you're assuming that Mitchell kills Jessica and so he can leave. And then we get an amazing shot of the ghost of Diane playing the piano, and there's candles like lit around her in the dark room. Awesome shot. Really cool shot. They did very good with that. And then we get the ending with the back to the sheriff's department with the interview with Jessica, and she's just like hysterical, crying and traumatized still. And then the sheriff gets up for a second and walks past the camera, and you see her face just like completely changed with like no eye. Her eyes are black and demonic. And then sheriff comes back and he walks past the camera again and back to her normal face, and basically tells the sheriff that she was at the Abaddon Hotel and that he should go check it out. And that's the end. I mean, they use the same twist from the first movie. I mean, I saw it coming a mile away when I first saw this. Like, just like Sarah being dead and being interviewed in the first movie, same thing here at the end. You know, I knew Jessica was dead and shit. But it leaves Mitchell as a guest at the hotel. He didn't get out. It was Jessica who did, which still makes no sense to me when I think about it in this moment, actually. That why, if he wants one person to go out there and bring other people to the hotel, like if he says one person can leave, to me that means you can leave. Like, don't be an asshole. Don't be a fucking liar. Fucking say what's on your mind. Be yourself. No, he says that one person can leave and continue bringing more guests to the hotel. So Mitchell is presumed to be the one who's ended up being trapped in the hotel as another guest, and Jessica is the one who was able to leave. But yet she's obviously possessed in that little shot when the cop moves back and forth between the camera. So none of them really got to leave. Like, they're all fucked. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It's a little stupid. But like I said, this movie, it's a good sequel. For a found footage movie series, especially. A very good sequel to the first film. And like I said, definitely more found footage, like your standard found footage, than the first one, which is why myself and pretty much most people I know adore the first film, and then a lot of people just don't care for the second one. This one I actually highly enjoy, as I said. Mostly for like Mitchell, the character of Mitchell, and Andrew Tully's performance in the end, and a few cool scenes and stuff like that. But definitely it is a little weaker than the first one. And we'll get into the third one in an hour or two. But like I keep saying, not a good movie. So I will see you guys in a little bit with House LLC 3, Lake of Fire. See you guys soon.